Perfect.
So we're gonna discuss the transition. Well, the basis of what you want the dog to do. So number one, you're gonna be passive on the ground, back to the fence, toy on this side of you. The dog comes in the beginning stages, you want him to activate you with some forward aggression. As we saw with your dog yesterday, he's kind of not ready to deal with that, so we have to adjust. But long story short, the dog gives you some feedback that he wants to be here. He's going to show you some drive, show you some forward aggression. So as soon as he gives that one bark in your direction, you're going to roll a little bit and come to life. We want the dog to be active and us to be reactive. What happens in so many dog training circles is that the decoy's active, the dog's reacting to that stimulus. That's not how life works, right? Mm-hmm. So we're teaching the dog for active aggression. So as soon as he comes to you, gives you some forward aggression, you initiate that by rolling to him. And ideally, we want a little bit of fuck you energy from the dog. The dog giving you some more deeper guttural barking. Like your dog's very deep in prey. So again, those are little bit nuances we got to figure out. But when it happens, and the toy's not really available, it's kind of behind us. The more times they do this, they know what's up. But they give you that bark, then I mark, and then I get the toy. Ideally, they shut up and pray as I mark and I stand up because that's prey movement, and we give them the bite. As the games manifest and become further and further in the system, we want the dog to really understand how to manage social pressure. And some dogs give it to you right away. Like some dogs are just about it. They're saying, you fucking looking at me, bitch, and then they bring that anger. Sometimes we have to manufacture that with eye contact barking. We have to teach the dog to come center to then get the prey reward. So the bait is off to the side, which technically is indirect reward. Like ignore that, come on center, bark at my face. That will flush me into prey. Aggression makes prey. That's a sequence for all of us. So then, as we saw with your dog, really strange deal, bro. Like whether it's right brain, right eye dominant, left eye dominant. When the toy's to my right, he's got a very difficult time breaking fixation. When I bring it to my left, he maybe barks at it once or twice and he comes dead center. So those are little nuances from dog to dog you can't always predict, and those are the things you have to play with. You're working with the dog in front of you with a lot of variables. So then what we do is we make the toy off to the side, the bite roll, and then the dog must come to our face. And then I'm not going flinging the toy, I'm going, yes, a verbal marker from the decoy, then I can slow my roll and pick that shit up and get in the prey. Maybe make a miss, go right back down, bark to my face. Then when you understand that game, left side, right side, then I'll put 2 of those out. So there's 2 fucking baits there. Now you still have to come center. And you don't know which one I'm gonna mark and grab. That can tap into a lot of hope, like almost like a gambler. They don't know what fucking slot's gonna win the big prize. Yeah, for sure. So that taps into more dopamine, more mystery, and ups the ante. Then when they understand that game, come on center, we're gonna ask for duration. We're gonna ask for more and more and more fuck you barking in our face. And then comes a duration marker. So when the dog's giving us that behavior, we have good, really like deep guttural barking with good rhythm, pitch, cadence, tone, bah, bah, bah. We want more and more. So as the dog is giving it to you, we're gonna then say, hey, boom, and smash the fence. Like, bam. That usually pisses most dogs off. Some dogs you'll be like, ooh, that's rude. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, again, you don't know.
Part of the game, yeah.
So then they have to work through that. But ideally, most dogs will stimulate from that. Again, it's not, you're already acknowledging the behavior that exists. We're not trying to create it. What we are saying, good job, give me more. And use that little smash of the fence. There's a little slight uptick, then you mark that. Then that uptick in drive, that uptick in aggression is what you're trying to manifest. You're trying to get more and more and more of that really deep fucking anger and energy. Once the dog's on that deal, then we're gonna take that, give it to somebody else, and those folks I will dress in uniform. Ideally, you're doing this shit in gym clothes, man. I don't want dogs biting cops in uniform. You can't hold them accountable if they do nuke a fucking cop because their entire foundation's been done on BDUs and 511s and shit. So show them this picture. Then as that manifests, somebody's on the outside of the fence, hey, Harris County Sheriff's Office dangling their Christmas ornaments. And then if the dog, this is where we want to tap into redirected aggression. The dog goes for that bait, he's gonna get touched on E to a level that makes him say, don't touch. When they get pissed where they can't take that prize, so many dogs channel that fucking frustration back to the middle and then take it out on you. Because that's the progression for team neutrality.
Like, question for you.
Yeah.
So let's say, and I've seen this a couple of times, and Rex included, right? Like Rex is, like I told you, the difference between my last dog and this dog.
Yep.
Last dog, I'll take the ass whooping for that bite every time.
Yes. Yep.
100% of the time.
Sure.
Rex is, I want the bite, but I don't want dad's ass whooping.
Yep.
Right.
Sure.
So like, if we did that, right? What is the what is the level, right? Because I think at a certain point, if I smashed him,
Yep.
if I smash him, to come off that,
Yes.
fuck this, Dad, obedience, right?
Yep.
Like, oh, I'll turn off everything.
Sure.
What do you, so
First
finding the
things
fine
first,
line.
this is what we're going to stimulate the dog with the E on a level that makes sense, not to diminish drive, but enough. Again, they're in that fuck you energy. So the endorphins are higher. There's a little more heat and adrenaline flowing in their veins, where pressure may mean a different signal than just maybe during obedience or like control work with the
Right.
decoy. Again, we're having this very intimate conversation that kicks the dog into another gear.
Yeah.
That's the whole basis for it. If you've gone too high, then we may have to backtrack a little bit, but what you do is don't speak. That's the most important fucking part.
Between him and the behavior.
Yes, if you inject your voice into a sensitive dog, you inject your voice into that equation, he holds you in contempt. It's a relationship, it's a pack deal, it's submission, subordination shit. What you want to tell the dog is, by not speaking, he's accountable for his own shit. And if he goes and tries to touch that low-hanging fruit,
Doesn't feel good.
doesn't feel great, and ideally, again, we want that uptick in frustration that he can't touch that prize to come back on center. When they get that shit, we're going to start putting things inside the fence before you even get the dog out of the car. Balls, tugs, sleeves. Like, he's going to be stepping on a sea of fucking fun shit to stay on that passive fuck you target. When that shit's in play, and this whole buildup is not only getting him off equipment fixation, it's again the active aggression riddle that we're trying to solve, but it's also the preparation for team neutrality. Because dogs, sometimes they can't go forward, they're gonna do self-service on what's around them. We gotta teach them.
You'll meet one of my other guys, Clayton.
Yeah.
His dog's about that life.
Yes.
A great dog.
Yeah.
But he's self-satisfying. He will.
Fucking opportunist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if his foundation's been laid and biting cops in uniform, can you fucking blame him? Right?
Yeah.
So he's got to learn that who's in the pack, who's in my peripheral. It can work for operators downrange that can also direct the dog. It's a whole different story. But as a whole, who's on my side, don't fucking touch. And again, the desire to want to touch, but you know you can't, creates that forward fucking frustration of more aggression. That's the idea. So eventually we have dudes in fucking suits, gals in suits, fucking tack vest over the top, and fucking screaming police commands. And again, it just creates that funnel of fucking heat. Boom. As it progresses, it's target acquisition. We know we come up on a scene, we've got fucking witnesses, people screaming, yelling. We've got the motherfucker we really want. And to be able to target lock the dog on the target we need them to access is a huge benefit of the system. It gives the dog a purpose, it gives the dog a focal point. And with the whole system, there's no like fucking test bites, bro. There's no like, is this the right fucking, am I allowed to touch? No, it's I go in and bite with everything I have when I get that chance. And that's a big staple of the system. But teaching this over 2 or 3 days in a class is so difficult. We're giving you little glimpses of the future. Like I would spend a week trying to shut your dog up and pray. But again, to give your money's worth, this is something that's done foundationally every day in a school. Yes, you can plug and play. You got guys and gals that want to fucking work. Yes, you can fucking make things happen while you're on duty. It's not always easy, but that again, foundationally, we're chasing repetitions to install muscle memory, and that's the whole thing. It's difficult.
So, question on whenever dog understands that not to touch not be distracted by the Kong or the tug on each side, right? You have the other deputy in your clothes, right, dangling his Kong or whatever, and he's like Sheriff's Office Canine, whatever. He looks at him, you pop him. If he continues looking, you keep the power on, or you just pop him,
Continue to pop and slowly escalate until the dog says, that's not in my best interest. Let me go back to where the getting was good.
Now, decoy wise, right? If he's fixated on this guy, he gets pop, 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 pop. If you see kind of like the dog is kind of, how he was saying, kind of shutting down, decoy wise, if you're realizing that the dog is shutting down, is it okay, since you already kind of worked his way up by duration, go, hey, hit the fence, or, you know what I mean? Get his reaction back.
It's a very good question, bro. The short answer is no.
Okay.
Because if we teach the dog that he can flatten out and pout in that situation and give him a 7th place trophy for participating, that's not how it fucking works in nature. Like, we want him to come back around. If the dog's super fixated and we think he's gonna flatten him out, I may put a prong on him through the fence and give him some directional corrections. Like, again, if he's this way, I'm gonna correct towards me and see if I can draw him back to me. If I gotta put some pressure on him in other ways, maybe.
But not make him react.
Yeah, and the bottom line is, the dogs, again, that's a hard part with traveling and meeting people for the very first fucking time, is that I don't know the dog's thresholds.
Yeah.
That's up to the handlers. But as you train with your same team all the time,
You know.
what like if you've gone too far where you've pancaked the dog out from stress, like we've gone too far too fast. You want to chronologically build to that so the
Yeah.
dog's prepared. And you're going to see that through, like, maybe even when we have the two toys at the side, maybe right here I'll one low on a Garmin, I'll start there, like bump him a little bit and just start to see him go, okay, it doesn't have to be this fucking karate chop, you know, every single time.
Could be a nag.
Could be a little nag, and slowly find that nag, that level of nag that makes him change his brain.
Okay.
Yeah, well, main thing is you don't want to go too far, and that's a whole nother conversation, prepping the dog for E.
Now, worst case scenario, dog shuts down. Put him up. Or what would you do? If I'm
Again,
making
that's
sense.
we don't want to get to that point. Right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm just saying worst case scenario.
if-
I'd
Right?
say you'd have to remove the variables and go back to where he was successful.
Day
The
one.
last thing you did.
Go back.
Yeah, what I would probably do, it may have to do like a little reactive shit, maybe fucking piss him off, and then have the decoy run off
Okay.
to kick him back in a drive to say, act like a bitch, and the rabbit got away.
Okay.
But again, we want to be very diligent and not go too far too fast where we're experiencing
yeah,
that. That's a
yeah.
big fucking thing. Don't be in a rush here.
Yeah.
Almost to the
definitely.
point like where when you think he's solid on that, do it another 15 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah.
pass
Sure.
that.
And what, again, this is another thing people have to take in consideration. Like, we're really tapping into some fucking hate here, right? That hate means endorphin and adrenaline's flowing through their fucking veins. Those are pain blocking hormones. So that most dogs, and maybe even experienced it while you're here, that they're going to take more pressure to out and more pressure to let go of fixation on things we don't want them to, and their feelings aren't going to get as hurt because they have that runner's high flowing inside of them. So there's variables too. Like, it happens in every class.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, he's on a 4 low on Garmin. Next thing you know, at 7 high is barely enough, and the dog's tail's like this because we're tapping into some deeper shit.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
So, but very common questions, because again, the little glimpses we put out on social media, not understanding the nuances are
Yeah.
are
It's
crucial.
one thing seeing it and doing it right now.
100%.
I'm able to see the dog and whatnot, him facing me, or like how you said a second ago, it was just that slight
Yes.
pay that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
It's what we call
realize it.
successive approximation.
Yeah.
So again, if the dog, I'm facing the dog, we see his focal point over here, and he's fixated, and all of a sudden he just gives, he's saying, that doesn't quite work. He's not looking at my face, but he's broken that same focal point. He just comes here, I'm gonna mark that and tell him, hey, your intentions of changing your behavior are gonna be very effective. And we're not gonna demand the entire behavior chain in one shot. And then next rep, I'm gonna ask for a little bit more, and more.
Yeah.
But
Baby steps.
sequentially, I'm going to tell them, I like where your thought pattern is. You're getting there. You're getting there. You're getting there. So it's very important, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dogs get that shit, for sure. Right on.